DIY.
DIYers David Banner, the legend himself, was recently on an interview on Big Boy in the Morning, Big Boy show on 92.3. And let me just say this before we get into the actual headline that we have here about the positive things that he had to say about Kendrick and his positive impact upon black youth. I just got to give his brother a round of applause because first and foremost, this interview is amazing.
Somebody gonna have to tell the truth.
So many gems. He talks about black wealth. He talks about his responsibilities of why he doesn't want to be seen as an OG, why it's just a lot of things, right? We're probably going to end up referencing this video many times as we kind of go through this content. With that said, though, I want to highlight this specific part in which he says something that we've said here before about the positive impact, not only the skill set that Kendrick exhibited in this battle had on youth and black youth specifically, but also the cultural results of the type of Super Bowl performance that he had. He said a lot in this segment, and it's towards the end of the conversation. It's on the Big Boy TV Plus channel. Peep this out.
I saw a video of Kobe, and it really showed me the way. They asked him if he thought he was better than Jordan.
Yeah,
And
I just
he
recently
said
saw
that-
this again.
He said, I would never say it out of my mouth because I took so much from Jordan. I learned so much from Jordan. You know, what our people are doing and what black people had to do in order, because understand, that's our heart. Let's be clear. I am very clear what we have to do in order to be up on these walls. So there's no way that
Right.
I would take down another black person.
How did you feel about Kendrick at the Super Bowl?
Oh, I loved it.
Yeah.
I loved it. And I love his artistry. And I love, man, I love how he treats his family and how he feels about the culture. You know, one thing that I want to say, and I mean this, especially when it comes to black people, is even if you feel a certain way, we shouldn't say that shit in public.
Yep, that's why I tell people. Even if I tell like my
Yeah.
brother, if I felt like he was wrong, I tell him in the car.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like man, the fact that he's there is so wonderful. And this is what bothers me. If you are gonna criticize, why don't you criticize everybody like that?
Somebody gonna have to tell the truth, and I'm gonna tell it.
Do you get the idea that there was an outrageous amount of folks, no matter what they're driven by, that were critical of him for reasons that, you know, we started to go through them and it was like, these are so petty. These are so petty. And we know what the real thing is. There's a lot of artists who felt like they maybe deserved that kind of treatment. They're either jealous or they just don't get it, or they're showing us all how detached they may be from a message that was delivered. No matter what, it's like, why make this a public display amongst mixed company? Why make the emphasis the things that you did not like, oh, why you didn't perform the hits? Why are you making the emphasis that instead of being able to celebrate, even if just for a second? But you know what? Shout out to him for representing hip hop in that moment. I feel like the same treatment would be given to others on that side if they went to go represent. You can't take that from somebody, but we're not dealing with folks that are using logic, so I get it.
If you're gonna swing the sword, swing the sword. And if you're gonna swing the sword, be God enough or God-like enough to give not just criticism. Oh, okay, well, what do you think I
Yeah.
could do better? You don't know, because you a bum.
Somebody gonna have to tell the truth, and I'm gonna tell it.
Oh boy, you know one thing I love. You know, I do this on my own. I don't need no content to do this. I love calling a bum out for being a bum. That shit is amazing. Not like I don't call homeless folks. I don't call nobody a bum like that. I'm talking about a bum in real life. I'm talking about a real bum. What do I mean? I mean somebody that get to chomping and yapping at their mouth. Room smell like butt and nachos, and just, well, Kendrick should have did. Nigga, when's the last time you left your house? Shout out to my cousin Moni. I like what she just said. When's the last time you cleaned behind your toilet? How are you going to talk about somebody else and what they're doing and you have yet to accomplish even a fraction of your own potential? Better yet, what they did. Bum-ass characters for sure. Yeah, we in that era where that shit needs to be called out, and these I'm gonna keep getting at them. It ain't nobody in my community, but you faceless accounts that talk so loudly about the need for transparency from other people. Shut up until you willing to show your face and let me know what you did. Shout out my guy Ray Kincaid. That's that Mississippi coming out. We straightforward. Is that why I rock with you? We might be cutting, family. Look, keep it going.
Right.
Like, man, like, come on, we gotta love each other. We gotta do better. I am so proud. And if I can't say nothing else, this man brought LA together in a way that I have not seen since the 60s. And bro, Kendrick don't move around that much. For him to sit in and write something that can galvanize people in the way that he galvanized people,
Yeah, man.
bro, that's powerful.
And you know what I love about that? You lived here, but Banner, you're not from here. And even when I saw the pop out, people probably thought like, oh, the pop out, oh, not like us, oh, but
Let me not assume that you guys all know who Big Boy is. I'm pretty sure most of you do. Because I saw somebody describe him as a guy. No. This is one of the most legendary voices out here on the West Coast. He has been a legend since I was in middle school in terms of radio, in terms of what he represented, in terms of the amount of people that he had access to. Tupac wanted to come sit down with him. Snoop talked to him after Tupac passed away. Like this is the voice out here that so many of these artists, I don't care where they're from or where they represent, Big Boy is a tremendously large voice. It's a reason why Black Sam didn't do any interviews, Nipsey Hussle's brother, but he did an interview with Big Boy because of how much respect he has out here. So I want to make sure we give him his roses. So this is not just a random interview. David Banner isn't going to sit with anybody to talk to him.
I saw what was powerful about the pop out. I knew what cultures were up there. I saw the Crips, I saw the Bloods, I saw the Latinos. I saw what it looked like. I saw people walking out. Like everybody's high-fiving and not just, oh, we up, the city's up. It wasn't about Drake. It was about what we felt. And that came from, if you could say one man on one team, but what everybody felt like. And that's why when I saw the Super Bowl, people that didn't understand it, I'm like, well, maybe at that moment, it wasn't for you. But for those that knew the purpose, it served me well.
I think I was more surprised about the people that it wasn't for, that I thought it would be for. I think I was more surprised about the elder statesmen in this game, that I thought that we were all on the same code. And my mistake, my bad for thinking that because of the names that they represented in hip-hop, because of the impact that they had on me as first a fan of hip-hop and then eventually a contributor to hip-hop. Excuse me for thinking that all of this, everybody was on the same timing, only to find out that a lot of folks, it was like, oh, money has separated us. Your new friends and your new circles have separated us. Your lifestyle, which is really more so about you and your family. And who could ever say anything about that? I'm about my family. But we have a responsibility in the same way that we have a family that is inside of our home. We have family that is outside here because we all go through similar things. And no matter how high you move up with the ladder, just like Jay-Z said in 444, still nigga, no matter where you go, whether you in a Benz, whether you in a hoopty. So you would think that some of these folks that we were kind of looking at glitching out would be connected, only to find out they voluntarily showed us how separated they were. So, very valid point.
And I know my team now don't want to hear this.
Uh-oh.
But I
Man.
I gotta say it. But I thought
Family
black
business,
people,
New Orleans.
I thought black people wasn't fucking with the NFL anyway.
Ooh, Mr. Banner, you said the loud part. You said the loud part too loud.
Tell the truth, and I'm gonna tell it.
Stop it. You know they brains start glitching when you use common sense. I thought y'all wasn't messing with the Super Bowl. I thought the same folks I was criticizing the performance, I thought y'all wasn't going to watch no way. But it seems like those who have already clearly said they're opposed to anything involving this man seem to be just as in tune with everything that goes on. He's at the Super Bowl. He's at the Grammys. They said he's doing too much with the tuxedo. Man, get Drake off your brain, bro. All you're thinking about is Drake. Seems like all you're thinking about is Kendrick. Did I say too much? Super Bowl happens. They can't wait to give their hot takes about the songs he did, not knowing that he owned 7 out of the 10 songs he owns the masters of. And now his family can enjoy hundreds upon hundreds of millions of dollars. The artists that he is, that are part of his label, the Baby Kings, who is actual family. He's able to provide for them day free. They're able to now branch out their business and do more amazing visually aesthetic things through PG Lang. No, we want to talk about he didn't do the songs. He didn't do the songs. Why are you so invested in things that you've already decided that you don't want any parts of? You know why? Because just like good cooking, even if you're doing well, even if you think you better than that good cooking, it still smell good. As a vegan of 10 years at one point, I'm not a vegan anymore, bacon never stopped smelling good to me. And it always found its way to my nostrils. So what I'm saying is I think culture smells so good to them, they can't stay away from it. Even against their own wishes to be detached, they can't stay away from it. Isn't that the same thing you do to Drake? No. Let me explain this. Thank you for saying this. The difference between them and Drake is that the criticisms that we have are very logical criticisms. They're character criticisms. He is an example of what not to be. He is an example of no matter how powerful you are, nobody is bigger than the culture. He is a cultural example. If you take his name out and we put Post Malone, which we had, we can have the same conversation. So what I'm telling you right now, no, it's not that. What's happening is that there's a different conversation happening around Kendrick that is not happening around Drake, and vice versa. So, you faceless account, Ayo, sit your dumb ass back down. There you go. Next point, though. Thought I got you. Shut up.
Bro, we pop off so much, bro, but we ain't supposed to be messing with them anyway. But because they gave one black person some money, and all of a sudden we back with the NFL, we ain't supposed to be watching that anyway. Since we talking about all this black power right now, all this black excellence, like we get into the wrong things. And so we gonna criticize the fact that another black man is there regardless. I don't care who it is. We got that spot, and we got an opportunity to shine and put on for our people.
We got that spot. We got that spot. You notice a pattern here? We got that spot. Not like us. We, us. There are people voluntarily taking themselves out of that conversation because I'm sure of their own individual experiences as black Americans, as maybe even not black Americans, but their own black experience, whatever that is, not invalidating anybody. But because of that, they have purposely chosen to separate themselves from this conversation. They don't feel the we, they don't feel the us in this because they themselves have gone through experiences that have made them feel like they're not a part of it. And when they don't get it, instead of trying to understand it, here's the problem. They don't go actively trying to understand it. They fight with people who do understand it, and they're fighting with them to make them believe they don't feel what they're feeling. Agents of chaos. That's the difference. That is the distinctive difference, is that there are people out here who don't get it that want to get it. I watched an older white dude who was like, man, I'm not going to lie to you, bro. Not even bro. He's like, I'm not going to lie to you. I never really listened to Kendrick Lamar. But something about that damn performance, man, it made me curious, and I wanted to know more. You know what he did? He did his homework. But you niggas can't. Interesting. That's a choice. That's a choice, my boy.
And somebody got up there and did something besides just, hey, look at me dance. That boy didn't do no hits for the most part. And still is the most viewed in history?
Yeah, he didn't go on that stage and catfish him. He gave them Kendrick Lamar songs. Take that for however you want to.
No, that's the biggest stunt of all time. I'm not even gonna do the songs y'all really like, and I'm still gonna smash.
Yeah, man.
What? And I'm gonna play a video game with your mind at the same time? They don't even know that.
Hey, man. And you know what I love about that, man? And not even just about the numbers, but that's Michael Jackson. High numbers. Yeah. Prince, Bruno Mars. Like for Kendrick, and he did it his way.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't look at that and say, man, what Kendrick doing? He didn't have no guy out there from a rock group playing a guitar. It was like, that's Kendrick.
Yeah, man. And we don't also understand, man, and I'm going to say this and I'm going to go, because
Well, there's one more thing I do want to ask you because I want to clarify something.
Okay, cool. I'll say this, bro. Like, I believe sometimes, bro, that we involve ourselves in lynching without knowing it. You know.
Hey, yo, DIYer, if you're enjoying this content, please don't forget to hit the like button. It helps this video and this channel get discovered by new people. I appreciate you. Now back to the video.
You know what I'm saying? And we publicly lynch each other, right? And for entertainment of each other. And if you notice, a lot of times when they used to lynch black people, it was black people around watching it too, when we could have been doing something to stop it. So when people ask me questions, I usually don't. This is probably the first time, go and look, y'all, that I've ever said anything about that song or what was going on with that, because I'd rather use my power for something else, right? I ducked that question. But what I will say, man, is I seen this for myself. Kids are now being involved in lyricism. My homeboys' kids, I'm not talking about nobody else's kids, is actually dissecting lyrics because of that man.
Come on.
And so he's able to do something in a situation that may not be the cutest situation, but I can honestly say he got a lot more out of it. He engaged mind, had people asking questions and talking about things that people hadn't done since early 90s hip-hop.
Sheesh, it's a lot to unpack there.
Have to tell the truth, and I'm gonna tell it.
You might have heard us say this, especially during a battle. I could not believe seeing TikToks of 17, 16-year-olds, and not even those who want to rap, but like 16, 17-year-old, like, and I'm not trying to make it a race thing the entire way through, but like Caucasian girls. I think that Euphoria is a reference to a lot of things, guys. Let's break this down in 5 steps, okay? First one, they're just like, what the fuck are you breaking down entendres? Rebecca? Vicky? Are you breaking down? I couldn't believe my damn eyes when I saw that. But that wasn't the only folks being affected. These rappers are influential. They're influential in many different segments. Rappers are not made the same. No rapper is exactly the same, even the ones that sound the same. They're not exactly the same. So to see a time period we're living in where folks are like, you know what? I'm not so, let's say it's the person that says, I'm not influenced by the lyrics, but I'm influenced by the reaction this is having on other people. Sometimes that's all it took. I always tell the story about in this big, massive book about bodybuilding, Arnold Schwarzenegger, who was I believe from Australia, he said that his biggest motivation when he came to California to get as big as he did and win all the awards, they said, what was your motivation? Like, did you want to be the greatest? He said, no, I wanted the California girls to like me. As shallow as that was, it motivated him to be one of the strongest motherfuckers on earth. Okay, at the time, Arnold Schwarzenegger said, I want the California girls. So I look at this and I'm like, damn, maybe it did take beef. Maybe it did take conflict because people were hypnotized to sleep. Young minds were hypnotized by the songs that were completely repeating the same messages over and over again. They needed something to shake them up, but it took conflict for that to happen. Well, that's no different than in bodybuilding. It takes resistance to grow muscle. So in this situation, I don't mind that it had to go the route of beef before people cared, because now they care. It couldn't be just that you're so great that's not the world. That's not the way the world is designed. So I love the point that he's making here that, yeah, it wasn't the cutest route to do that, but you got young black minds that are looking at this and saying, maybe I can give more to this art form of songwriting, of lyricism. It's good stuff.
I mean, we talk about Souls of Mischief. That's on your shirt, man. When I went up to the Bay, I went and engaged with Tajay, bro, because of what they did for me. From a lyricism standpoint, for me to see somebody rapping like that was outside of New York meant the world for me, or to me. So for Kendrick to be able to at least have black folks thinking all around this world, we got to give that young man some kind of credit and some kind of.
And Ben, I want to ask you one thing, because you had touched on something, and I was like, man, people probably going to read into it a different way, because I wasn't sure on what it was when you said, and you don't have to answer this.
I will.
It was when you were talking about how if there was a problem, you wouldn't say it, in a rap, you would go and paraphrasing. That you would go and that we come from, we'll see you. How did you feel about the entire beef with with Drake and Kendrick.
All right. Well, let me clarify that.
Yeah.
When I meant come and see you, it didn't necessarily mean that I'm coming to
Right,
whoop you.
yeah,
I'm not coming to pull a gun. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that as men, if you say something about me, I believe you. So I want to be clear on what's happening. Like, I had a situation where we literally, and because of a really, really good friend of mine, like, me and the young man got on the phone and we talked about it. Because a lot of times it's miscommunication.
Yeah. So
Somebody gonna have to tell the truth, and I'm gonna.
I highly suggest you go watch that full video. I'll leave it in the description below, but I want to expand upon what he said because, like, this is not even a matter of me doing great journalism. This is just a matter of God using me as a vehicle. And I feel like he brought me to a video like this. I like to share this video from this young dude. I had never heard of him before, but I believe he goes by 901 Banks. And the video started to pick up a lot of steam because, you know, coming out of the generation we just came out of, or the era we just came up out of music where folks seem to be zombies and hypnotized. Not everybody, but a lot of the youth just kind of was doing what went viral, doing exactly the model they saw work before and copying and pasting and not really trying to innovate. This is really, really interesting to hear. Here's his take on what he feels like is the song Watch the Party Die by Kendrick playing out in real time and how it relates to recently an issue with Lil Baby. We're going to expand upon that too, but listen to the young dude.
So I think the problems that Lil Baby is having with the Atlanta police, I feel like that was like touched on a little bit in Kendrick Lamar's song Watch the Party Die. And when I say they was touched on, I'm like specifically like referencing the verse when he was saying that if you're parading in gluttony without bringing truth to the youth, the cemetery is company. Just tell us what casket to choose.
For those who don't know, I don't want to get too much into this because I don't have a crime channel per se, right? But Lil Baby is dealing with a situation, dealing with the unfortunate passing of some young teens in Atlanta. It says on Tuesday, this is from 11alive.com, police had a press conference providing critical updates to the tragic July shooting that took the lives of 13-year-olds Lamont Freeman and Jacody Davis. It says that Atlanta rapper is responding to a warrant from Atlanta police naming him in relation to a deadly double shooting that took the lives of two 13-year-olds last summer. On Tuesday, police held a press conference and they provided the critical updates. Officers described the shooting as a gang violence orchestrated by adults, is what they're saying, and linked it to the tensions between rival gangs. In addition, officers pointed to the cause of the violence as the cowardly acts of an Atlanta-based rapper who decided to go into his rival's gang stronghold and shoot a music video in a place he knew he should not have been. I'm not gonna ever jump up here and come to the defense of what the police say, because I've seen police be divisive in these situations where, you know, to segment in a gang. I'm not even gonna get into those politics. But if this is indeed true, wrong is wrong no matter where the source is coming from. The cowardly acts of an Atlanta-based rapper, they're talking about Lil Baby, who decided to go into his rival gang stronghold and shoot a music video in a place he knew he shouldn't have been. And not putting that on him, we're going to lose all the allegedlys. That is what, unfortunately, was the event that had those two young gentlemen lose their life. So I'm going to let this young man cook because he's using that kind of as an example of what's going on now.
I feel like he was basically saying that the community is done with people who come through here and they're not like teaching the youth anything. They're not trying to expand the youth's mind. They're basically preaching and doing the same bullshit they've been always doing, which is like this partying and bullshit ass narrative. Like, basically the community is done with these people who come and just feed off of the youth in a sense without like giving them anything that they can actually use. I feel like that's what he was saying. Like, we're done with that. Like and the crazy part about it is we're killing the party because the party has to die for the future to live. And I feel like that is more apparent than ever with this just one case, because this is the first time that I've ever seen that like a police department is basically saying like, hey, this guy's presence or him like being in this community when technically he didn't even have to be. His influence in the community is causing like innocent lives to be taken. Like,
And he's going to be able to go right back to whatever mansion he stays at.
Somebody gonna have to tell the truth, and I'm gonna tell it.
At what cost? Like, you may not agree with every point. I see there were some folks even in my comments who didn't agree with every point that he's making, and he felt like that wasn't even related. But the question must still be, at what cost? Even if these artists are from these areas, they know that their presence, based upon the history of artists that have gone back home, and it's not even his home, it's supposedly a rival's home. They know that their presence elevates all the energy in that space. It elevates. It even raises the antenna of people who want to do bad by people. Your presence alone raises that. Your music is that speaks to some of that activity. So you being around in this situation is going to cause a lot of unnecessary energy, a lot of not unnecessary static in the area, simply because you chose to do it there. And for what? To advance your music career? To show your entourage you're not afraid to go do something? If that's indeed the case, and I don't have all the information, I understand why not only the youth would be tired of this, but the mamas that lose their babies would too. It's a different time I think we're approaching. I hope it is.
like that really says something. And I feel like that's like a cultural thing now. I feel like it's spreading amongst like just people who can do stuff, because like I said in my previous video, the community is tired. We're tired of losing innocent people, and more importantly, we're tired of losing kids. And it's one of those things that we rather get rid of you than get rid of one of them, because one of them could really make a difference in this world. So that's just something I was thinking about, and I just wanted to kind of like put it out there. Let me know if you agree with it. If you agree with it, let me know. If you don't agree with it, let me know, so we can talk about it.
Let me just say this. First of all, round of applause to that young dude. I see somebody in the comments says something like, you could tell he was the type of person to get picked on. I think that what they don't see, what they're missing, two things. The bullies of yesterday are not the bullies of today. The bullies yesterday were just the strongest kid, the tallest kid, and even if he wasn't the smartest kid, he was still a bully that the smartest kids wouldn't want to mess around with. Nowadays, it's not enough to be big and strong and that's the only thing that makes you intimidating, right? Nowadays, you must be witty. These young kids know how to outwit the bully now. They know how to make him look stupid without him even knowing he looks stupid. He thinks people are laughing with him. They're laughing at him. That's the new age of bullying this time. That's one. Two, can we please acknowledge that this young dude is doing what so many folks in my generation were too bitch made to do, which is have their own opinion, including myself at times. Just taking accountability. There was a point in time, especially in my generation of hip hop, and David Banner kind of talks about this a little bit, where you don't talk about other men. You don't bring up other men's name until you're able to see them. The reality of it is so many of these quote unquote men have made themselves inaccessible. So many of these men have done dirt for so long, and because of their dirt, so many people have been blackballed in the process. So many people that you have never heard of have been blackballed. I could have very easily been one of them. But the whole code used to be, just be quiet. As people are doing you dirty, be quiet, be quiet, be quiet. We're not in that time no more. Rappers have podcasts now. Rappers who get in interviews, I think that's part of the reason why they don't do interviews. Some of them don't do interviews because they don't have shit to say. Some of them don't do interviews because they realize we're not going to sit there and listen to you moonwalk around questions for 2 hours. You either going to say it, say the person's name, be direct about it, or don't even waste your time. Go back to making music. Because now we're living in a time where the risks are too high to speak to speak in a way that is not direct. The people need something they can feel. And we can't feel bullshitting in a time period so crucial as right now. You mean to tell me all these years that we have been complaining, many of us have been complaining about the imbalance, not the existence of toxic music. I think toxic music has the right to exist. Be mad at me. But I want it to exist only if I have the right to have the opposite exist. You can call it free speech. You can call it just... If yours exists, mine can exist. The issue that I have is that it is so imbalanced that now every piece of imagery that you push out there of black folks is only the worst, or is only the most criminalized, or is only the lowest hanging fruit. I will fight for your right to talk your bullshit in your songs, because I expect to have the same opportunity to balance the narrative. But the problem is that the machines that be have put all their money behind the bullshit. Rest in peace to Angie Stone. I saw that news and I couldn't believe that she had passed away in such a way that she did. She was being very, very vocal about her issues with the same label. And I can't imagine the things that she went through after neo soul was no longer prioritized within the music industry. And she speaks to some of the things like that. But I look at that and I realize, like, that music industry era full of gangster rappers that we saw as gangster rappers in public, but were too scared, too bitch made to actually say what's on their heart. Us 80s babies can't be that way. Because Gen Zers is not that way. They say whatever they want to say. We can't be like that. We can't afford to be like that. The time period is too crucial. What I see Kendrick championing, what I see artists like Daylight and Ab-Soul championing, what I see them pushing the line on is too crucial. And it may not always be that I contribute through my music, which I plan to do. It may be because I have this platform that I can use responsibly and talk about things that other folks don't think is going to do views, so they won't do it. I don't care. This is too crucial of a time. This is too crucial of a time. And there's people that are counting on us who didn't get an opportunity to do it. I salute you, David Banner. I salute you because you started up a conversation and your influence holds a different type of power than us just saying it repeatedly here. I salute you and I thank you. DIYers, those are my thoughts. You let me know what you think. DIYers, if you enjoyed this content, make sure that you hit the like button and maybe even consider subscribing. Come on, man. Stop being greedy. Peace.